I really think you do have psychological problems. But if, Piers, if you allow me, otherwise I don't know why I'm on this panel. Piers, be mature, grow up. You are the person I invited to come to Iran. You are the person. Go take your medicine.
Forget America for a second. You guys kill innocent people in the Middle East. You guys chant death to Israel. So forget America. Will you stop supporting the terrorist organizations?
Outside of the United States, people are seeing what's going on in Gaza.
I can't imagine how fearful you must be of your government.
Okay, let me want to bring in Scott.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name's Z. Just a heads up, this video is gonna make you cringe by the end of it all because Ben Ferguson went on a propaganda rampage accusing Iran of having deadly intentions while turning a blind eye to the countless innocent lives lost at the hands of the US and its ally Israel, from Iraq and Libya to today's genocide in Gaza and countless other wars in the Middle East. He's painting Iran as the villain, yet refused to acknowledge America's role in toppling governments, funding terror, and turning the Middle East into a war zone. Professor Marandi, you'll see, is going to calmly dismantle Ben's talking points with historical facts, and Scott Horton exposed how anti-Iran policy was never about American interests. It was born in Tel Aviv and pushed through Washington. Ben's hypocrisy peaked when he bragged about freedom in America, ignoring how criticizing of a certain foreign government will leave you facing with censorship, backlash, and deportation like Muhammad Khalil. This isn't a random debate, it's a reality check, and Ben is gonna get wrecked by truth. Let's go.
Iran is saying, if you bomb me, then I'll probably make nukes. But if you don't bomb me, I won't. And the Americans are saying, don't make nukes or we'll bomb you. So as long as everybody holds still, it's fine. And we can negotiate a more peaceful and cooperative relationship going forward. Because quite frankly, there's no reason to believe that the Ayatollah would make nukes unless we attack them.
I want to be respectful, but I want to jump in here.
Have to resort to it. There's no need to interrupt me. I'm willing to listen to you.
Okay, so here's the problem with this fantasy. The fantasy that you're putting out there is implying that Iran is somehow a responsible nation in the world that is not a terrorist nation. They are a terrorist nation.
I said that they were verified by the IAEA.
Wait, let me finish. First of all, verifying and being on the edge of a nuclear weapon is two very different things. And what I look at is the actions of Iran, not what you're talking about, which is in this diplomatic kumbaya world. The actions of Iran are clear. They want to take out the little Satan, and they want to hurt the big Satan.
That's their intentions.
They think that the Jews should not exist. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
Their intentions are to kill. Read their mind.
Let me finish. Their intentions are to kill innocent people. They did that in the training and the support of the attack on Israel. I deal with reality, not what they say in propaganda when people have guns to their heads. You look at their reality. They were in charge of killing more American troops when we were in the Middle East, backing it, supporting it, aiding it. The bombs that were used, the roadside bombs, they were all coming out of Iran. They gave safe haven to the people that were killing American troops. They were proud of that. That is who they are. Yes, it is. Go back and look at the reports. You look at Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and where were they getting the information, the intelligence, and the technology to kill American troops with roadside bombs? They were getting it in Iran.
Listen,
they were getting aid and support.
Hamas,
Hezbollah. I'm not going to sit here and act like just because it comes from you that I'm wrong. That I have the propaganda right because it's reality based in what happened, sir. And the reality is Iran loves terrorist organizations in the Middle East that will go after American interests. True or false? When America's in the Middle East, Iran is backing the terrorists that come after us. True or false? Every time in my lifetime, they've gone after American interests. And they do it in Israel as well. So this idea that you can sit down with these people like they are sane, when clearly the leadership is a terrorist nation that wants to kill Americans and Jews, you cannot allow them to have a nuclear program because they are terrorists. They're not responsible citizens in the world. They're not a responsible government in the world. I'm not naive enough to think they'll ever be.
Okay, let's go back to the panel. Professor Marandi, there's been a lot to unpack since we first spoke on this panel. Look, there's a lot of distrust, as you know, from America towards Iran, a lot of distrust on this panel from Ben Ferguson to everything you're saying. How do you restore trust in America?
I don't think Iran needs to restore trust to America. It's the United States that is waging war after war. And I think your guest probably has lost a lot of money on the stock market. Otherwise, I think he needs therapy. But beyond that,
which country chants death to America? Your country.
Well,
your country chants death to America. You want to talk about trust? I don't know what the hell the stock market has to do with the fact that I have a problem with a country that chants death to America, with the Ayatollah leading the chant in front of the entire country. You want us to trust you again? Stop chanting that. Stop sponsoring terrorism.
I really think you do have psychological problems. But if Piers, if you allow me, otherwise I don't know why I'm on this panel. It's quite clear that the problems between the United States and Iran come from the United States. The United States carried out a coup in Iran, imposed the Shah, built the secret police, the Savak. Then the United States supported Saddam Hussein in his war against Iran. The West gave Saddam chemical weapons. I survived 2 chemical attacks. One was mustard gas, and one was a nerve agent. And the West collectively was behind Saddam. Then they attacked
Did you guys
Iran
hold Americans hostage in our embassy in 1979, just out of curiosity, or do you just guys whitewash all of that with the propaganda?
Yes, that's a good point, actually. Students took the embassy because the United States, your regime...
It wasn't students. It was the Shah regime, and the team, buddy. Come on.
Your regime gave refuge to the Shah, who was a mass murderer, who had slaughtered people on the streets, and they wanted him back. The United States was aiding and abetting a mass murderer who they were supporting. So
you guys aid and abet mass murder every day when you support terrorist organizations. Will you ever stop supporting the terrorist organizations? Forget America for a second. You guys kill innocent people in the Middle East. You guys chant death to Israel. So forget America. Will you stop supporting the terrorist organizations?
Yeah, your government is the government that supports terrorists. Your government helped create
I actually feel bad for you.
Tulsi Gabbard.
It must be miserable living in a prison where if you speak out against your government, you will be one of the disappeared ones. Because that's what happens to people that stand up to your terrorist government. You disappear.
Arrested yes,
no,
you're right.
not.
Where people in your country are arrested
I'm free, my friend. I can say whatever I want to in America, unlike with you in Iran.
You can say whatever
you want. Dude, your government propaganda. I feel bad for you. Like, freedom is not what you do.
If you don't want me to talk,
let me ask you this question. Has your country, let me ask you this, Professor. Professor, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever disagreed, ever publicly, with your government in Iran on any one major issue? Have you ever spoken out? Or are you so afraid of your government that you know if you do, you will be one of the disappeared ones?
Since I'm sure your problems.
One example, just deeper, one example. You don't have one because you can't. I feel bad for you.
But if you knew, if your problems are deep and serious, but if you knew Persian, all you have to do
notice how he's under duress here?
He
cannot answer that question
online, and you can go and
Professor,
watch me in Persian and see what I say about different administrations. But Piers, if you don't want...
Oh, let me jump in. But no, I do want you...
United States, don't invite me. Don't invite me.
No, Professor, I often invite you because I want to hear the perspective from Iran, as you know. But it's an interesting question that Ben puts there, which is we're having a kind of panel debate here, which is unlikely to be tolerated in Iran in a broadcast manner. Can you think of anything right now, as Ben said, where you would criticize your government, for example? Would you be prepared to do that publicly now or not? Or is there a feeling that you can't do that with the Iranian regime?
Piers, be mature, grow up. You are the person who I invited to come to Iran. You are the person. Go take your medicine. You are the person who I invited to come to Iran to visit the country, and you refused the invitation. So you're not in a position to
because he's not an idiot.
You're not.
I wouldn't come to Iran either. Journalist. I don't want to disappear like you're afraid of.
Well, I'm glad you won't come because we'd have to spend a lot of money on therapy for you, and we have enough problems because of the sanctions. But that aside,
let me ask you another question.
Yes,
Let me ask one other question. Is there any terrorist activity that you condemn that your government has funded? Do you condemn the attack on the innocent people in Israel or any other attack by any terrorist organization that you guys have funded? Is there ever a moment in Iranian history in your lifetime where you say supporting that terrorist organization, funding, aiding, training, you would condemn the attacks and the death of innocent people anywhere in the world?
I condemn ethno-supremacism and an apartheid regime, and I condemn this Holocaust, and I condemn what Tulsi Gabbard admitted that the United States supports and supported ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and they brought them to power in Syria.
I want to bring in Scott.
That is what I condemn, and that is what the globe condemns. And inside the United States, you can talk all you want, and you can convince Christian Zionists who think that Christ supports genocide. You can convince them that what you're saying makes sense. But outside of the United States, people are seeing what's going on in Gaza. I can't imagine how fearful
you must be of your government.
I want to bring in Scott. Scott, hey, guys, I want to bring in Scott. Scott, I want to play you a clip from Dave Smith, who was on my show recently, and he said this afterwards.
If Donald Trump actually does launch a war in Iran, not only will I not support it, I will apologize for the rest of my life for voting for the guy. I have loyalty to my principles and my country and my family.
Now, that's adding to the voice of Tucker Carlson and others on the right. There's no doubt that I think if Donald Trump was to attack Iran, it would not have widespread support on the Republican side. In fact, you could see large numbers of Republicans and conservative commentators criticizing that move, which makes it quite a perilous political decision for Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, especially considering how it's likely to play out. But I could just say thank goodness for Dave Smith and for Tucker Carlson and for the rest of the people on the MAGA right and the America First right who know what America First means. And it doesn't mean Israel instead. It means American national interests. And a war with Iran is not an American national interest whatsoever. Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith are both 100% right about that. And man, I got to tell you, I almost voted for Trump, Piers. And especially when I heard that guy, Jack Smith, filed new charges in the middle of October, I was like, no, that's it. I'm voting Republican. I can't stand. The Democrats deserve to be punished like they just burned Waco yesterday. I despise them. And I almost did, but I couldn't do it. And the reason why is because Trump is so beholden to Zionism and Israel. And it just is such, and we know this from the last time that he was in office, it is such a huge flaw in making America great and putting America first is Israel instead. And there's just no question that our anti-Iran policy is born in Tel Aviv. You know, our friend here mentioned the Iranian Revolution, 1979. Well, that egg was on the face of Zbigniew Brzezinski. He was Jimmy Carter's national security advisor. And he was the one, just as much as Carter, who was humiliated by the Iranian Revolution and the hostage crisis and the rest. Absolutely. But by 1993, the mean old Ayatollah Khomeini was dead. The new Ayatollah was in. They had a reformist president named Rafsanjani who was all about trying to kiss up to America. And Brzezinski said, we should build an oil pipeline from the Caspian Basin across Iran to the Persian Gulf, that way to make money and also to begin to warm up relations with Iran. Let bygones be bygones. And according to Steve Levine in his book on the pipeline wars, and according to the Washington Post, it was the Israel lobby back in 1993 that vetoed this warming of relations with the United States. And Brzezinski lost that battle. Instead, they famously made the BTC pipeline, cutting out Iran and Russia both. And so, and then on top of that, it was Yitzhak Shamir's advisor, Martin Indyk, who came in, and this is in Bill Clinton's first year, and said, where Clinton wanted to try to normalize relations with Iraq and Iran, it was the Israelis that insisted on the dual containment policy, which said Iraq is so weak because you just beat it up in Iraq War I, that now Iraq isn't powerful enough to balance against Iran. So now America has to stay in Saudi Arabia, to bomb Iraq and to blockade Iraq and enforce the sanctions also against Iran throughout the 1990s. And Piers, as I'm sure you know, this is the primary cause of the September 11th attack. This is what caused America, Britain, and Saudi Arabia's terrorist mercenaries to turn against the United States, was bombing Iraq from bases in Saudi Arabia, a policy insisted upon by the Israelis. And it was also, of course, Israel's merciless violence against the people of Palestine and Lebanon that caused Egyptian engineering students studying in Hamburg to go volunteer for a Saudi to kamikaze our towers as revenge for what Israel was doing.
You haven't looked at the writings of Osama bin Laden and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind behind 9/11.
I can't hear what you're saying. I wasn't done talking yet. What?
Hold on. No. Well, I don't care if you were not done. I listened to you for a long time. Go off on something that's not factually accurate. So Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind 9/11, if you look at what he has said, he would say what you just said is not accurate. And that's the guy that masterminded 9/11.
That's what he said.
Go look at everything that he said. That he said a lot more than that. And I'm sorry that it's not as simplistic as you're trying to make it out to be. Osama bin Laden's own writings. Osama bin Laden's own writings disagree with your simplistic way of describing this. But Piers, let me go back to the core issue here, which is today and now. I'm not in favor of invading Iran. I'm in favor of making sure we do what we have to do to make sure they do not have a nuclear weapon, because Iran cannot be trusted with a nuclear weapon, full stop.
Let's not kid ourselves. Ben Ferguson didn't just lose this debate. He exposed himself as a loudspeaker for a foreign country's interest. Dressed up as an American patriot, every line he dropped reeked of manufactured outrage, deflecting from the real questions. Why is the US, the very country that propped up dictators, dropped bombs across the Middle East, and helped fund the chaos, pretend to be the moral compass of the region? Professor Marandi didn't even need to raise his voice. His smirk alone clapped back at the hypocrisy. And Scott Horton, he brought the receipts, timeline, and the truth that left Ben gasping like someone realizing their teleprompter just went blank. Ben speaks about Iran's intentions but never once admits Americans' action. He fears freedom in Iran but ignores the silencing of voices in the US that dare to criticize the wrong foreign regime. Ben's lapel pin might as well read property of AIPAC because every sentence sounded like it was pre-approved by the Israeli lobby. So here's the real question. If Ben is sold out for the Israeli lobby, like his pin suggests, why are we letting people like him speak on what's best for the world? If this made you think or made you mad, don't scroll past. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's call out the hypocrisy where it lives. Don't forget to like and share, y'all. Catch you in the next one.